Maybe turn these down just a slight bit. If you heard, I think it should be fine where it was at earlier. I've been listening to it and it gets a little low. I also put some noise suppression on the mic so that way it's better. But hello everyone, welcome to Wheeler's Minis and another wonderful episode of Mini Paint and Chill, where I mini paint and you chill. Don't know how long tonight's going to be, but we will do what we can and hopefully finish up these minis that we've been working on for a little while now. But before we get to that, a few things to get out of the way. One, if you aren't already following the channel, please do follow me on my socials at Wheeler's Minis on pretty much everything. If you have the financial ability to, consider subscribing to the channel or possibly buying something from my store, of which both of these minis will be up as soon as I'm done with them. Let's see. Ooh, there's something else I was going to say. Oh, yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube, hello. Hi, YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind subscribing and hitting the bell, commenting, all that fun stuff that you hear from all your other favorite YouTubers, I would appreciate it very, very much. But yeah, that's what we're going to do tonight. We'll see. We'll definitely get done with it. We'll see what we do after that. But yeah. Just want to get this done. So let's dive into it. Giant's done. I did do a little bit of extra work on him after the stream on Tuesday. I just wanted to get some more color for the glowing effect underneath, even though I said I wasn't going to do it. I lied. Be mad at me. But so we're going to go over this part with a blackish red, just to kind of bring some of that stone texture in. There's already the basalt there, but as anyone who's looked at lava knows, there are parts of it, once you get into the basalt and the obsidian and all of that, that kind of just kind of meld over into ash and still molten-ish rock. So that's what we're kind of going for. So I'm going to add some more black. I'll probably replace the wet palette paper after this, or wash it off. But yeah. Take a little bit of this. And dry brush to do this to the edge, trying not to get into the divot of the actual lava, and if I do, it's okay. I can just go over it afterwards with the fluorescent color. Kind of what we're going for. To be a little bit more black though, so we might just go straight to black. Just to match the surrounding tones. But this will give us a nice kind of molten rock look. And then what I'm going to do is take some transparent water texture paint and put that over the lava spaces. Luckily, it's okay if it gets a little black in there, because lava isn't necessarily, and or magma, if you're being correct about certain things, isn't technically fully orange throughout. It just looks good like that because it helps it pop. But yeah. And then again, if I want to if I really want to, I can bring back some of the color by putting white, or sorry, the red, the fluorescent red that I was using before. Bring back the tones, but honestly I think this looks pretty good as is, and it's got a good look to it with just a little bit of that color peeking through. So kind of like that. I think it looks good. And I did the color moving up quite a bit on him. I don't really need to do it too much on this because there isn't a lot that needs it, but I will go back over some of the spots I accidentally hit with the black. Really sell that glowing effect, which I really like and I think looks really good on him. And I already know where I'm placing him on the base. So once I get this water texture on here, he will be done. Finally. I set it and then I came back to it, and then I set it and then I came back to it. This is the way of miniature painting. But that means we can actually get some work done on the Banshee. So with this, much like any texture paint, you want a specific brush for it. This is basically just like, if you really dive into it quite a bit, it is basically like glue. What I might do is just get it a little bit down. A little bit easier where I want it to. It doesn't over like that. Really should be doing this with a smaller brush. That's what I'm gonna do right now. Or I should re-say that with a brush that actually will put it in the spaces that it needs to go without going everywhere else. That's what I'm doing now, just putting some of this water texture in here. Hopefully when it's done, look a little bit more like lava. Highly recommend too. This is not something that I came up with. I follow a lot of very, very well-known miniature painters on Instagram and things like that. The best advice I can give is to go look at the people who you like the models that they do and see how they do it. And if you want to mimic that, make sure that you watch those people, because how they do things is how you like it. So much like any other thing, sports team, whatever, you're gonna want to see what you can do to mimic those things. And that's what I'm doing here. I saw someone doing this. I don't remember exactly who the artist was, but they used the water texture, and so I was like, you know what? I've never done that before. I'm gonna try it. And I think it's gonna look good for what this model is. Again, there's gonna be a little bit of overlap on there. It's not the end of the world. I can always go back over that with a matte finish later on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As soon as that dries, which is probably going to be a little while, I will glue up that giant and he will be done. So we can move on to our way. On to our lovely Banshee, of which I am going to first and foremost clean off this brush as best as possible. It is not meant to be a texture brush, but it probably will be from now on. And then this one, making sure that you get everything off. I gotta find a better way. I think one of the better ways is I've seen a lot of people using like dropper bottles, and again mixing it probably with a little bit of water or thinner, and that'll get the desired effect that you're looking for. But yeah, so there's not really too much to do on the base. However, this is one of the colors we were using before for the Banshee. I'm just gonna wet it real quick. And I like making my bases have a color on them that matches the model. So this is gonna get a couple coats because it's very thin down right now because it's older. But I want it, I think the teal color is the color I want to go with. So we're gonna do a coat of teal, and then we're gonna come back over it and do another coat of teal. Dries so that way it's a little bit more cohesive. But that also lets me know that that paint is pretty dry, which means I more than likely just need to get some more of it on the thought I left them at a dip. Okay. Aqua Amulet and then Aqua Alchemy. Alchemy is going to be my mid-tone, so I want to look at the teals and go for the third from the top, which I think is this one. Yep. Talisman. I don't really ever use these paints, so them getting some use is a good thing. This is going to be my shadow tone. So how I'm going to use this is go through, and any of the lower spaces are going to get this pretty prominently. Without taking too much away from the work I've already done, including that of the shade. Did. Really just being mindful of where this goes is the biggest thing. Under her bust. Sure. Because again, this is one of those things that we talked about when we first started her was, you know, the color theory of it all and making sure that spaces that need to be painted darker are painted darker, and then spaces that need to be painted lighter are painted lighter. And really, the more you do with work like that, the better you get at it. It does take time, but it's, in the end, I've noticed that it's always worth the extra effort that you're putting in. Plus, it'll give it a nice little change in tone while still keeping some of that, you know, dark tone that we used for the contrast paint. So just kind of going through, even hitting up places that probably won't be seen, just to be safe. And you don't have to be super clean with it. You can be messy. Again, just making sure that the paint flows in a way that the model flows as well. Because if you have a coat that doesn't really match the flow of the model, it's just going to end up looking a little weird. Already liking this though. I like the way that she's turning out so far. Really, if you wanted to expedite the process of doing this and didn't really care about the aspects of how it looked particularly, you could dry brush this very easily. But because I kind of want just a little bit of attention paid to it, I'm just going through and doing what I can to hit pieces that are lower on the model that may be a little bit too dark or close to black because they didn't get paint on them earlier. I'm just going through and hitting those, making it look as good as possible. But it's already looking pretty good. Like the way that she's looking, like I said. And things will pop even more once I get started on the other work. Going low tone on the neck because it's kind of covered, and underneath. Really just making sure that there's a nice shadow. Again, it's a very bright shadow because she's a ghost, so she's gonna have high highs, and that means that even the lows are gonna be kind of high. Super excited tonight, though. It is Alien Night. I've been waiting for a new movie since Covenant came out. I am one of the odd man out when it comes to the last few in the franchise. I actually thoroughly have enjoyed them. I think that they get underrepresented a lot because people wanted something specific and didn't get it. That's not the fault of the people who are making it. That just is the fault of the people who went into it with expectations. So, super excited to be seeing that tonight with my wife late at night, which is the only time you should be going to see an alien movie. And I highly recommend, if you have not, checking out my playthrough or playing through yourself Alien Isolation. It's on sale right now. Not sponsored. God, I wish. I love the Alien franchise so much. Yeah, be sure to give it a check out. Again, probably my favorite movie franchise ever. So hopefully some of you go and see it. I'll be posting my review much later. No way I'm doing that anytime soon. I'll make sure that everyone has an opportunity to go see it. I just can't wait. So I'm seeing it technically the day before it even comes out. So everything I've been seeing about it so far has been that it's very good. So hopefully that's true. I guess I'll find out in a few hours. Apparently, there's also some stuff in it that's grotesque, which I love. Really leaning into that heavy aspect of like body horror and cosmic horror that it really lended itself to because of the artwork of H.R. Giger. So, hoping they lean a little bit more into that, like they did in Covenant, where they had like the neomorphs and things like that. It's gonna be a good time. I'm super excited. If you can't tell. And again, one of the benefits of back to the minis, but one of the benefits of minis like this is you can be a little dirty with it. It's a ghost. They're incorporeal. They don't have fully realized forms. So if it's a little bit messy, that's actually helpful to leaning into the aspects of it that are what it is. You know, that's why it kind of was a little bit messy with it at first, because I think it's going to end up looking really, really cool. Not being too, you know, too careful sometimes can lend itself in moments. There are definitely times where you want to be more careful when you're painting, but there are times like this when there isn't as much of a stake on it. Or rather, I guess there is a high stake because this is going to hopefully go to someone, but there isn't as much of a stake as there would be on like a character model where there's very defined details, because this model lends itself to being just a little bit dirty because of what it is. So, you know, you just have to, when you're painting, you have to go into a model understanding it and really knowing what you want out of it. Because if you don't, you're going to have trouble really trying to find the specific aspects of the model that you want to paint, which can be difficult, you know. And sometimes it's best to not go in with any ideas at all. Sometimes it's best to go in with just the thought of like, you know what, I want to paint this, and that is my goal. Sometimes you get very bogged down with the details to the point where you kind of have paralysis and you can't, you know, continue painting because you're just so worried about things looking the way that they need to, rather than just worrying about the fact that you should be painting. That's something that I've struggled with a lot as a painter. But when you start to enjoy the work that you're doing, that's really when things start to look up. Because that's when you start going, oh man, that's right. I really love doing this. And it shows in the work that I do. It is a very difficult step to get to, but it is a necessary step. I promise you, when you start to paint and enjoy the painting, don't get too bogged down with the details, you will very much so start enjoying the work that you do. Bug has been here for a very long time now. I'm just hanging around my paint station. This is also a good time for like if the brush starts to spread apart, it's a really good time for that too, because that kind of lends itself to the look of like wisps and things like that. Having that just kind of very brush like texture is a very, very reminiscent of wisps and smokes and things like that. So sometimes things that can be a nuisance and other things can be good in certain situations. It's looking quite cool, if I do say so myself. Now we're going to, just to make sure I don't forget about it, we're going to grab some white. There we go. Whole thing. A little bit of white. bad there. We're gonna go to this one. Probably too much white. I definitely did not need that much. Okay, go in and get up the eyes. Make sure that they've got a nice bit of paint on them. Try not to hit anything else. Fail in the process. And be okay with it because it's going to have a bit of a glowing eye effect. Really lean into that look. So we'll hit the eyes with that, and then we'll go back to the teal and go to the topmost. And the highlighting becomes very specific. This is when you start to hit just kind of the tips up, things that are going to be touching your, wherever you're sourcing your light from the most. Now, mind you, this is also with the understanding that technically speaking, this creature is in and of itself kind of a light source. So if you feel like doing a little bit more than just the edges, that's also completely okay. But for me, like just kind of going over using the side of my brush and really just hitting up some of the topmost pieces. And then if you want more of a highlight, you can go back over with a, like just at the tips, you can go back over in like a white. It should give you the desired result. Again, this is one of those things where it's like technically, you know, you should highlight in white, but there are going to be certain situations where white might be a little too intense. But because again, she's an apparition or a ghostly figure, it makes a little bit more sense for her in the long run. Making sure that we have enough paint on brush for it. Her face is nice and bright. And edge highlighting is just something that like I've started to get into that just really, in my opinion, just helps deepen shadows. I don't think that's even an opinion, but I know that there are going to be people out there that don't paint with this style that are like, that's not what I do, and that's completely fine. Everyone paints differently, as I've been saying pretty much the whole time I've been painting her. Like, you don't have to paint her this teal color. You don't have to make her look like she's a permanent resident of the Haunted Mansion rides at either of the Disney parks. But this is just how I envisioned her. And this is how I wanted to make her look. You can make her look completely different if you have access to the model. That's the beauty of painting. Everyone's a little bit different with it, but in the end, as long as it's what you want, that's all that really matters. I think one of the things that's really helped me is what I was talking about earlier of like looking at other people do work is so beneficial to you as an artist because it helps you understand exactly what it is that you're looking for. And there's a lot of people that I watched. I'm like, wow, these look really good. And then you start to look at the like tiny, tiny details of it. And it's not like it is well done in a way that isn't necessarily meaning that it's, perfectly painted. It's just knowing how to make something out of the chaos that is sometimes the models that you're working with. There are plenty of painters that I've seen that have been like, wow, these look incredible. And again, like I said, you get kind of close up with the pictures that they take, and you're like, wow, this isn't so perfectly painted that the brushstrokes aren't able to be seen. This isn't so perfectly painted that, it looks unbelievably lifelike to the point where you're like, wow, I really wish this was a real thing. Like it can be messy, but knowing how to, bring some organization to that somewhat chaotic structure is really what makes some painters as good as they are. You know, she was slightly not as vibrant earlier because she didn't have all of these colors on her that I have on her now. But now that they're on her, even though it's messy in a way, it looks, to me, it looks good. And unless you're painting commissions for someone, really at the end of the day, the person whose opinion matters the most when it comes to painting is your own. But remind yourself sometimes that if you like the way that something looks, then that's a good paint job. Doesn't matter how it stacks up to other people, unless you're competing, and then it does. But if you're not competing and you're just painting for fun, don't compare yourself to other people. Just paint how you know how to paint and enjoy it. And I promise you, the end result, you will, one, want to continue to paint more, but two, also just like the effort that you're putting in. It's not impossible to be good. In fact, I would have to say that it's far easier being good than it is to actually enjoy what you're doing. Oh, she looks pretty good. Really just getting some final touches in on here, making sure that she's got paint everywhere where I want it to be, and really diving into the nitty gritty details now. And sometimes the fun thing is part of wisps is that the very edges of them seem to dissipate into nothingness. So giving her a little bit of this lighter texture in certain places is again lending itself to the mini. Work with the model you have. Don't try to make it something that it's not.
what I can do is just take a little bit of this and a little bit of white. White until it's very, 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 very bright. Really start to with little dots and things. Brush strokes, just kind of add in a little bit of extra highlight on there to really make it pop. Really just diving into that idea and lovely visage. Her nice wispy hair. Now really just truthfully hitting up those edges. Just slight bits of edge highlighting. Kind of what I was doing earlier, but this is definitely way more intense with the color. Oh, she's so pretty. Beautiful. She's so pretty. Really nice coloration. I like her. I don't think she needs much more done on her, if anything. I think she's pretty much done. Oh, this has paint on it. really diving into nitty gritty. Is completed. I think minus base. That shouldn't be too difficult. So I think we use the brightest one. It's a decent amount on the brush. Go back over all of this lovely work. Right. Got any grey left? It looks like I do. Take some grey. Still get some water. Get most of it. Take some grey. Just do a bit of dry brushing. Hopefully just bring some life to base itself. Right, and then one part. Now gluing them on the base. Okay. Here, I assume. And here. Kind of sits. Hold on. Make sure. Oh, that'll be fine. This one on the bottom of the feet. Bit. The way that I had him is add in right about there. We'll let those dry. And then we'll go over with a matte varnish and finish them. And they should be good to go. Quite good. I like them. All right. And that's that. So, let's see. Find something for another 15 minutes or so. They both look quite good. I'm happy with how they've turned out. I like the way
Look. Got a nice glowing effect to him. Love that. She's also looking fairly good. Good painting work. Super proud of it. But that's those models. We'll do that. That I don't need this. Back. Finish that one. Prep. Don't need. Magazine. Don't need resplendent. I will need. Okay. Teal. Deep gray. Eva Chrome, I don't think we'll need. Uniform. Aqua. Death and Gunmetal, I will need. Giant Attacking Black. Aqua. You both will go back in your spots. Rough Iron and Plate Metal, I don't think I need right now either. Put those back. That's the main thing too. Make sure that you are making sure that your station is clean. Picking up any things and putting them back where they were. It'll help you just feel a little bit more organized and have everything just a little bit more put together. Make you feel a little less crazy. So whenever I'm done with models or finally have a break in between some of my models, I will kind of pick up things and put them back where they're supposed to go. That way they don't clutter the space and they don't make my life absolutely miserable. But things like this, those are going to go back there. Get this guy soon. Little night boy. Much bigger model, but I printed him very, very small. Yeah. And I've got some more stuff I could probably work on. I got a couple. What's the word I'm looking for? I got a couple of there. A couple of commissions I might work on next week. Or see if I have any other models that I want to print out and paint. So I've got some more work to do. Got black. What am I missing? There's some that are missing from there. Dark tone's fine. Skin shade. These I think are ardent stabilizer, varnish. This is where the gray is. Company, brigade. Here. For a white, I'm going to keep all my whites together, so I'm going to put you. I like using most. Back. Yeah, just making sure you take some time to like really make sure that your station is clean in a way that, you know, helps you feel a little at ease. Yeah, this guy I can work on soon. I definitely want to get him done. I gotta find his base again, but sure I can find it somewhere in this mess. This guy broke, unfortunately, but I have another one. I probably will paint him next week too. And then I got a couple of pyromancers, storm things that would be really fun to paint, so maybe I'll do those as well next week. Just quick funsies. I don't really do a lot of character models, but I've started to get more into doing this, the other base for this orc, which I might work on as well. Somewhere it's over here. Extra pictures I haven't used yet. And I'll be taking pictures of pretty much all of the minis that I do. I just haven't had the time to recently. Oh, that's probably why it's working weird.
because her face is a little bit brighter, I want to make sure that these pieces of hair near her face also have that brightness, so it's not just kind of random and out of nowhere. Cohesion is also the name of the game when you're painting, so making sure that things actually look like they're where they're supposed to go really helps out as a whole. But yeah, I think she's done. Like actually done now. Over her just to make sure. I say done, and then I end up doing so much more. This just needs a little bit of that. Nice texture to it to help solidify it with the rest of the model. Same thing over here, just doing just a little bit more. Never hurts to just be a little bit extra. She's done for real now. I'm taking a look at her. Fire Giant's definitely done. Finished him up last week. He looks really good. The only thing I might do is oh, just a quick little fix. Putting a little bit of white in the eye really also makes it help pop. It makes it show that they're actually doing the thing where they're like glowing. So that's why I was doing that. That looks incredible though. That looks really good. I think I'm done. Like I said, I just wanted to finish those up. I've been kind of really excited about this movie. It's kind of weird, but honestly, when you have a thing that you're passionate about, sometimes it makes you a little crazy. But that's going to do it for me. I really appreciate you hanging out for the hour that we were here. I will be back on Tuesday, hopefully with some new models. But if not, I'll do the stuff that I have here. Probably do the stuff that I have here. But thank you so much for watching and tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Photos for these will be up shortly. They will also be up on the website, so feel free to check that out. wheelersminis.com. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. I know that I am going to see this movie. So yeah, and remember, in space, no one can hear you scream. All right. Later, guys.